Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a Christmas special. Today I'll be talking to Nick Wilson. We'll be understanding how would you balance your mental health and this special time. So many people are going through Christmas not knowing what this holiday season will bring. They're anxious, they're depressed, they're suffering from mental health because they're worried they never have to spend Christmas by themselves. Not even worse, they never have to spend Christmas where they've not meet their loved ones, talking about current event, opening presents, sharing gifts, sharing ideas, talking about what a wonderful year this has been. But for so many, this has not been the case. So this will bring on a lot of mental health during this short time we have to all spend together, spend it by ourselves. But Nick Wilson is a mental health consultant. He was in the army for 14 years and know very much how he's done with this, how he's dealt with this difficult challenge. Not only has he been in the army, he spent Christmas in the army on his own, with his friends, of course, but not with his family. This brings his own challenge. He'll be telling us what's the best way to get through this year on a positive note and bring on the Christmas spirit, no matter what you're doing and no matter what you've been through. Meet Nick. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal Christmas Special. I'm here with Nick Wilson, and he is here to talk about balancing your pain, especially your mental health pain during this Christmas time. Nick, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm living the dream, living the dream. And
Yeah,
you've got to in this crazy age because if you don't have a bit of positivity and if you can't create this positivity yourself and you're reliant on other people, then you're going to be struggling, really, aren't you?
absolutely, absolutely. You know what fascinates me a lot about yourself is your background. You know, you've been in the army for 14 years and the British Army. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how did you enjoy those days?
Um, Loved it, absolutely loved it. I joined the army as a 20-year-old, which is quite old back then, and I was in one of those junctions in life, and it was either go down this path and I could have possibly end up dead or in prison, or I joined the army and sort myself out. And it was, that was the one, luckily, that I chose. And yeah, it was. I had 14 amazing years in the army. There was, don't get me wrong, there was tears, there was pain, there was blood, there was death, there was, all the kind of things that we get in life anyway. And but there was a lot of testing times, and you had to have your resiliency, but there's also a level of grit. Just that I'm going to get through this regardless. And just getting on with stuff.
Mm.
And it's things that I've used this year. I've been out 8 years now, and I've used it a lot this year. Just to, things are really rubbish right now, and I've just got to get through it. I just got to get through it, and I think a lot of people at the moment are doing that on a daily basis. I just need to get through today,
Yes, yes,
and then
yeah,
the next day I just need to get through today.
yeah.
Um,
No,
and
you're
it's
right.
the only way they can kind of go. But yes, I served multiple, deployed on multiple operations around the globe. Um, Kind of done the main ones: Northern Ireland, Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
Wow, that is really truly amazing. Now, you did hit the nail on the head with this year. It is a difficult year for so many because I think a lot of people have never lived a life like this or seen anything like this in their life. And now we're approaching a critical time, which is the Christmas time. In your years of being in the army, how did you manage to cope during, during celebrations? You know, when you're in the army, you're on your own. You're there for a mission. You're only there for to serve and serve the country. So thinking about things like this is the last thing in your mind. How did you manage to cope and deal with this?
You got through it as a family, you know. It was, and that was the hardest thing about leaving and coming back into society and not knowing anyone, because we were very much a family, and you just got on with it. And but sometimes we didn't cope, and you know what, that has to be okay. You have to allow yourself um to not be okay. I'm not going to go with the cheesy lines. It's okay not to be okay, because I don't believe in that for 1 second, because it isn't okay not to be okay. I don't believe in you. They're all lying. But a mixture of manage your expectations. We had absolutely no expectations of Christmas. Um, we never thought Saint Nick was going to be coming down our tent chimney and deliver us presents. You know, it just and yeah, we just kind of really managed the expectations and thought, okay, well, we're here for a job. It's just another day. And I know, dependent on how religious you are, that could be extremely difficult for you. Um, but you know, in the times that we're in, there's even if you're religious, there's a way that you can celebrate the birth of Christ without needing to have all the pizzazz that goes with it. You know, it doesn't have to be massive, but I truly believe that we should be right here, right now. Maybe just think about celebrating the fact that you're still alive this Christmas, and just using that. And you know, if you have the chance to get together with family safely, make the most of it and do so, because we just don't know what next year is going to bring. So live for today and make the most of it. You know, I'm going to be by myself on Christmas Day, and in the past that might have been a big problem for me, but I'm just grateful that I'm alive, and I've got my health, and I'm going to be able to make a difference to more and more people in 2021. And you know, that's what keeps me going and keeps me motivated. So manage your expectations. There's an element of just get through it. You find a way to get through it. You know, don't be so hard on yourself. You know, don't try and go for this amazing Christmas day, because that's the worst. Um, it's always there every year anyway. When it comes to Christmas time, we've got this vision of an idyllic Christmas and what that looks like, and then we almost penalize ourselves, chastise ourselves when we don't manage to if it doesn't work out that way. There's so many variables, you know. Just take the pressure off yourself, and just enjoy whatever you can do.
I love that though, because I think you're absolutely right. And because I remember even last year, you think about it, and we all rush. And on that day, you're like, all this for this. You
Yeah.
know, it's always the build up that is we don't realize it's the build up we're actually celebrating, not the actual day. And we forget what Christmas truly means. That Christmas is not just about the material things around it. It's about there's a celebration, there's a true meaning of Christmas, and which is something more important than the actual material things. And I really love what you just said there, is that we should reduce our expectation, and rather than having to say, oh, I want this, but try and be grateful for being alive. How do we adjust in all of this? How do we adjust our mindsets? How do you, you know, when you're in the army, there's one thing I like about being in the army, and I always say this to my son. I said, if I can, if this is still existing, I would love to have you in the army, because I think there's a lot of discipline that comes with being in the army. How do you balance your mental health, especially if people who might not know, you know, we could say all this we want to say, but there's something that comes with being able to be strong and balance your mental health as a person who is so used to all of that and all of a sudden not getting any of that. How would you say the best way to balance your mental health to be?
Um, Crikey. So I remember to take care of yourselves. You know, I know we tend to let ourselves slip at Christmas time, and think that it is a time for you to take some time off work, obviously. So, are you actually taking that time? Are you making time for yourself, or are you working harder at home than what you were at work because you're trying to meet these expectations, etc.? So, self care is really important. Um, Managing your mindset isn't necessarily something that's going to come to you overnight. Um, but being able to live in the present, try and find a way to let go of the past. We can't change the past. What has happened is what's happened. We can't change this year. We can't change what has happened. All we can do is find a way for us to accept the things that have happened, learn from them. If they're negative, turn them into a positive by learning from them, um, and find a way to manage our emotions, and move forward. Try not to get caught up in what might be. What is 2021 going to bring? We don't know. No one knows. So don't get caught up in the news. Don't spend every day of your day off, the build up to Christmas, watching news for an hour, 2 hours a day. If you can, just try not to watch any news at all. Just shut yourself off from the noise of the outside world, and just try and enjoy just being. Just being with your family, being with your kids, being with your partner, getting reaching out and touching base with friends and connections that you've not spoken to all year, if not longer, because you've been so busy or whatever. There's a lot to be said for giving. So, can you do anything within your local community? Is there food parcels at the food bank that they're always looking for volunteers at this time of year to be able to go out and deliver? There's also a lot of communities that offer food to vulnerable adults and vulnerable families on Christmas Day. Could you possibly go and volunteer with them? Could you go down to your homeless local area? I know that some churches feed the homeless, etc., on Christmas Day. So could you volunteer an hour or two on Christmas Day to do that? Because I tell you what, it's a bit selfish, but that is okay. That's absolutely fine. But to be able to give 2 hours of your day to help feed the homeless, for example, the feeling that you'll get back from that is almost a big Christmas present wrapped in a bow right there for you, because the feeling it will give to be part of giving something back to the community is massive, and shouldn't be undervalued at all. So can you make that a part of your Christmas? What can you do that is, even if it's just an hour? There's things like that will just really help you to balance maybe this year and all the negativity, and bring a bit of positivity in your life. So even if you're struggling with your mindset, pretty much guarantee if you do some volunteering in your local community, that will help to find some of that balance. Yeah. Is that enough?
That's good, Nick. That's really good. I really love that. And the final note is that we've learned so much from 2020. What will be some of your hopes, that some of the lessons you think we will learn from this year that we could take into 2021?
Well, you've said a big word straight there for me, which is lessons. Now, for all the negativity that you can find during this year, challenge yourselves to find the positives from this year for you. Now, COVID has brought a lot of deaths, granted, but out of respect for those people who have passed away, and their loved ones who have been left behind, don't you think that we should be going into 2021 and paying our respects to them by finding the positivity and moving forward and learning from our lessons and becoming better versions of us, and identify things that maybe you've done wrong, areas that you've failed yourself, mistakes that you've made, learn from them, embrace them, because you then turn them from weaknesses and mistakes and failures into successes and strengths. As long as you learn from them, that is the reframing. And that's how you then go into 2021 with a positive mindset. And the only other thing I would say going into 2021, what I really hope that people don't feel that they can go into 2021 and completely forget about 2020. Because there is going to be nothing worse than people thinking that they can go, oh well, we're 2021 now, we'll just move on from last year, let's just forget about it and we'll just move on. There's no way that the human mind can forget about a year's worth of hurt, pain, uncertainty, disappointment, grief, all these really massively strong, powerfully negative emotions. And if you're just going to try and compartmentalize that, put it in a box and put it to the back of your mind, this isn't a week, this isn't a 6-month tour, this is almost a year's worth of your life, that we're going into 2021 still being in it. Make the time to process what you've been through. And when the vaccines finally start rolling out and it comes down to the general populace, maybe March, April time, whatever, and we find our new normal, a lot of people say that we would go back to normal. There's no way we're going back to normal. Just it cannot happen, because it literally cannot happen, because we've experienced too much. So there's no going back. We're going to find our new normal. That's what we're going to find. But let's find our new normal once we've processed the entire 2020, and whatever that has brought you, because otherwise it might not hurt you in the short term. It might be 5, 10, 20 years down the line. But if you don't process all of those negative emotions, they're going to come back and they're going to bite you in the bum, and you're not going to be able to control how badly they come back, what impact it's going to have in your life at that time. So that's what I really wish that people will do going into the new year, is just make time for themselves to process everything, work through whatever feelings, negative feelings, thoughts and emotions they've got, process it all, learn from it, and then move on.
Wow. Nick, thank you so much. I wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for 2021. I'm sure we'll be talking again very soon. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you ever so much for having me on. Take care.